Whenever you're ready, Sadeg, we're ready.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Sadeg and my topic presentation is death penalty, and my question is, should the death penalty ever be used in murder cases in the UK? The outline for presentation is a brief history of death penalty, also known as capital punishment in the UK, and value of human life, wrongness of retribution. Retribution means revenge, execution of an innocent, and I'm going to give you a comparison with the US death penalty. First, we're going to talk about history. More than 2 centuries ago, the death penalty was known as the Bloody Code. People were put to prison for being mean to children, stealing, making homelessness to sailors and soldiers. But in Homicide Act 1957, narrowed down the capital punishment only for murder during stealing, during thief, stealing, resisting arrest, killing a police officer, and committing more than one murder. The UK had its last death penalty execution in 1964 before it was abolished. Now I'm going to talk about the value of human life. The UK, because of its membership to European Convention, had to follow the Human Rights Act 1998, which put a strong emphasis on the value of human life. The Human Rights Act states that everyone has the right to life, and there is no discrimination toward gender, age, ethnicity, and the right not to be subject to death penalty. And now I'm going to talk about the wrongness of retribution. Retribution is a punishment administered by government for committing a crime. It can be a political way of saying revenge. The aim of death penalty to provide relief and closure to victims of the family. The concept was based on an eye for an eye. The US Catholic Conference said that we cannot teach that killing is wrong by killing. You cannot kill somebody because you kill someone else. It's just wrong. And now I'm going to talk about the execution of an innocent. There's probability that innocent people will get executed due to mistakes and flaws in the justice system. In the murder trials, there are witnesses, juries, prosecutors, and who can be misled and make wrong decisions that will result in execution of an innocent. An example that I will give you is about Derek Bentley's case in 1953. He was accused of murder at the age of 19, and he was hanged just 3 months after his verdict. And in 1998, they found out that the judge was biased and he misled the jurors. They overturned Derek's verdict, and it was decided that he was not guilty. And actually, his friend, who was underage, committed the crime. Because of death penalty, mistakes similar to Derek's case cannot be rectified because they'll be hanged. And another example is about Stefan Kisko in 1975. He was accused of murder and rape of an 11-year-old girl, and he was in jail for 16 years. And after 16 years, they found out that he didn't do the crime, and he was released. But at the same time, but after 3 months, they found he just passed away, unfortunately. Because the death penalty was no longer in use, the government was able to rectify their mistakes by releasing and compensating him for their error. Now, United States comparison. In the US, where some states still allow capital punishment, over 130 convicted murderers on death row were found not guilty since 1973. There are currently over 3,000 inmates waiting on death row in the US. Some people who are in favor of death penalty believe that the cost of keeping people in jail is higher than just killing them. However, the cost of single death penalty case in Texas is about $2.3 million, which is 3 times more than just keeping someone in a prison with high security for over 40 years. And that brings me to my conclusion, which you must say the human life is valued, and the criminal should be a second chance and opportunity to redeem themselves and make amends to the life. Retribution is not just the answer to murders. Because there are variable motives or wrongdoings and different types of crimes, it would be both morally wrong and impossible to determine when capital punishment would fit the crime. So in my opinion, capital punishment should never be used in murder cases in the UK. And I have some handouts, and I'm going to give it to you guys so you can review. Thank you very much.
Right. Questions?
Any questions?
Aha, yes. In your first slide and in your essay, there was a question I really wanted to ask you. If you could, can you go back to the first slide, Sadeg? Knife.
Sure.
Thank you. No, the next one. Sorry, mate. The next one. That's it. It amazed me in the essay and here. What does being mean to children mean?
I believe if you, for example, if you tell the kids not to for example, not to play with toys, that would be mean to them. Not, just to tell them don't play with your toys. So that would say that's wrong. You cannot do that. And that's not just, they couldn't rectify that.
So you're saying that there was the death penalty for preventing a child playing with his toys?
I'm just giving an example. When I did my research, there was no example, but that's the example I think.
But are there levels of meanness?
Level of meanness, you can beat a kid, and that would be a crime, which is wrong.
Okay. So, basically, you're not really sure about that one, are you?
Not 100%.
No, right. So, but one thing you didn't really talk about directly is the preventative aspect. Is there any evidence that the death penalty prevents other people from committing crimes like murder?
Well, it scares people of committing a crime, but it doesn't stop it. If somebody wants to kill somebody, you cannot really stop that person. You cannot just follow that person just in case he might commit a crime.
Have you looked at any research into murder rates in countries that have the death penalty?
In the US, I did. For example, I talked about in Texas, in some states that they do death penalty, and they still do death penalty, but over 130 people found not guilty since 1973.
But is the rate of crime higher in those states that have the death penalty?
They're higher, yes.
They're higher?
They're higher.
Okay.
So it's not preventative?
No.
Okay. And what do you think about the countries who have death penalty now, like the United States and China and Iran? Yes, of course, yeah. Do you think there's a possibility that the public will, support them stopping that? Or, I mean, what's your... Sorry, what I'm trying to say is, have you done any research into public opinion? Like, what do people think the people think?
Some people, if somebody's family was murdered, they want the other person to be killed, which is kind of, their right to have the